What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the stock option recap for March 4th, 2021. The Dow Jones is down 1.11%, the Nasdaq's down 2.11%, and the S&P is down 1.34%. Now, before we get in the video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you can be notified when we go live. We're live market open to market close Monday through Friday, so you'll definitely want to hit that notification bell, and you will be notified the second we go live and also when we post videos. Now, the first stock I want to talk about today is Facebook. Facebook had a pretty crazy day today. They were up a lot earlier in pre-market, and you could have did extremely well on the calls. You could have got these 267.5 calls in the morning for about $25, and they shot up a little over 800%, so pretty crazy move. But right after the Jerome Powell speech today, everything in the market just started to sell off, and these calls pretty much just came back to the price they were earlier in the morning. So you could have did extremely well in the morning with a quick little flip here on Facebook, but if you ended up holding the options, you would have just gone back to break even more towards the end of the day. The market was down a lot today, and we may see more downside tomorrow, so just be super careful with any call plays. Another pretty interesting one that was up a lot today is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is usually not a big mover, so I was really interested in this one. You could have got these 50.5 calls for about $15-20 earlier in the morning, and they shot up a little over 200%. Not the craziest gain on there, but like I said, Coke's a really slow mover, so 200% on an option on Coca-Cola is pretty crazy. They started falling off with the rest of the market today as well, right after the Jerome Powell speech. Pretty much right after that speech, you saw everything in the market go down. There was not even any rotations in any stocks, so it's very interesting to see. Usually Coca-Cola is one of those stocks that goes up when the rest of the market's going down, so you may want to look for a cheap call play here on Coca-Cola if we see any rotation into your value dividend stocks in tomorrow's trading day. I think Coca-Cola could be pretty interesting. Another very interesting stock today was Exxon. We talked about Exxon in the last video, and I said the calls were extremely cheap, and I wasn't lying about that. You could have picked up some extremely dope call plays. Even the puts were really cheap, but you could have got these $59 calls for about $30 earlier in the morning, and they went a little over 300%. Exxon and oil in general has been a leader for the most part, so if we start to see the market falling off huge, you may want to look at oil for a potential put play, but we may also see a rotation into oil more towards the upside because oil has been a clear winner in all of this. Another really good call play in the morning was Snowflake. They had earnings after hours yesterday, and they got clapped off their earnings, but they ended up bouncing. You could have got these 300 calls for about $25 there on the dip, and they went a little over 1,000% more towards the top of the day. So crazy move on Snowflake for an earnings continuation. The options are still up a little bit, but if we start to see Snowflake going crazy, you may want to look for a call play on there. Now, I never like mentioning this stock, but Gamestop and AMC started popping off crazy more towards the end of the day. While everything else was going down or just not moving at all, GameStop and AMC just started to pop extremely random. And I always want to point out these $800 calls because for some reason, these 800 calls are always really cheap, and then whenever GameStop has any sort of volatility pop, these always go up over 1,000%. Like the pop they had last week, I'm pretty sure these $800 calls were like a penny or something like that, and they went up over 10,000%. So it may be worth just like throwing down a little bit of cash into one of these really far out options on GME if you see an opportunity to get them for like $1 or $2, because it does have potential to just be a crazy play just from volatility alone. I really don't think something like this should be popping like that, and I don't really like to mention this because I don't want people playing it, but if this is something we continue to see very frequently, you might want to keep an eye on this because that is just crazy that even happens like that. Even the bids go up a lot, so you can get out of the plays if it happens. It's a really weird situation. I've never really seen something quite like GameStop in the market. Now that's it for the call plays. Let's get into some put plays here. The first one I want to talk about is Altria. Altria has been holding up pretty decent for the most part this whole time. I was looking on a potential put play on this when the market was dropping because they were kind of lagging behind and the options were really cheap, but more towards the middle of the day they started falling off a lot, and there was a lot of potential to make some money on the puts because they were extremely cheap. You could have got these 44.5 puts for about $12 earlier in the morning, even before they started falling off a lot. You had a lot of time to get in this play, and they're up a little over 400%, so really crazy play on Altria just because this is a really slow mover. You shouldn't really expect to see options on such a slow mover move up that much, so you may want to keep an eye on Altria for a potential bounce play, but if it starts to sell off a lot more with the market, you could possibly get some cheaper puts on here. I would just be really patient on the puts though because they're already up a lot. Another one I want to talk about is Boeing. I really like Boeing for the call side, but I've already got a bunch of shares of this, so I'm kind of biased and I don't really want to play calls. You could have got these 215 puts for about $20-$30 earlier in the morning, and they popped up almost 1,000% depending what price you got in. So pretty crazy move there on Boeing on the downside. I may want to look for a potential bounce play here on Boeing just because Boeing has been one of those leaders while the market has been falling. Pretty much every day we've seen the NASDAQ falling 2-3%. Boeing has been up leading the Dow, so you may want to look for a bounce play on this, especially because calls might be extremely cheap with how much it's sold off today. But I wouldn't go too crazy on there just because we don't know what direction the market's actually going to go from here. Today was a huge sell-off day. I don't think we've sold off quite like this since like September, so you may just want to be patient on there. But I like Boeing for the call side, and I may want to get a potential play on there. Now, a pretty dope play I want to mention is Bank of America. We got into these Bank of Americas at a very interesting point. I want to compare Bank of America to JP Morgan today and give you guys an explanation of why I got into this play, because I was looking at pretty much all the banks when the market was falling off. I saw Bank of America on the high ticker here, and I thought it was extremely weird that Bank of America was popping, so I looked at every single other bank. I looked at Citi, I looked at Wells Fargo, I looked at Goldman Sachs, I looked at literally every single bank play you could look at, and none of them were going up like Bank of America. So I thought that was extremely weird. So I ended up taking a put play on Bank of America. So I picked up these 36.5s. You can see it right here, right on the dip for $21. And they shot up a little over 300%. I ended up ghetto spreading them with the $36 put, so now I have a $50 debit spread for free. But I really like this play. I wish I would have picked up more because I only got one, but if I would have picked up like 5 or 10 or more, I think this play would have been an extremely good hedge just because of the opportunity. I thought it was extremely weird that Bank of America was the only thing popping while the rest of the market, especially all the banks, were selling off. It just provided a really weird opportunity to get a really cheap put play while everything else was already selling off. So I just wanted to mention this play because I just want you guys to know that when you spot an opportunity, you should take full advantage of it, because I only bought one option on this, when in reality, I should have probably loaded up a little more. Like if I would have bought like 10 options, I would have been $200 into about $700, so pretty crazy there. It would have been a nice hedge just because of how much we are down in the long term now. It would have definitely been beneficial, but I really liked this play. I just think the opportunity was very interesting. I'm not going to be looking for any more plays on Bank of America, but I just wanted to mention this one because I liked the opportunity it provided. It was pretty much a for sure play almost. Of course, nothing in options is ever for sure, but when that opportunity presents itself, you should probably take full advantage, because that was just the easiest opportunity in my opinion, especially because Bank of America had ex-dividend today or yesterday, so they're bound to sell off anyway, because when stocks have ex-dividend, they usually tend to sell off a couple days after. So I really liked this play. I thought it was really interesting. So the final stock I want to talk about today is Draftkings. You could have got these $60 puts on Draftkings multiple times today. You could have picked up these $60 puts for about $15-$20 in the morning, and they shot up almost 1,000%, and then the stock ended up coming back up. These puts dipped back down to the same price they were in the morning, and they shot up almost another 1,000% again. So Draftkings was pretty crazy today. They were up a lot earlier yesterday, and I told you guys about this one in the morning that I wanted to watch this for a potential put play, but I completely forgot about it. So hopefully someone was able to take advantage there, because DraftKings was dope. You had two basically 1,000% plays in one day, so that's pretty insane on DraftKings. Draftkings. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have not, make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we go live. We're live market open to market close Monday through Friday, so you'll definitely want to hit that notification bell and you will be notified the second we go live and also when we post videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.